Doc, good morning po classmates. Today we will present to you about the conservation biology. Next slide. So what is conservation biology? It is the study of the conservation of nature and of Earth's biodiversity, aiming to protect the species, their habitats and ecosystem from excessive rates of extinction and the erosion of biotic interaction. It concerns the phenomena that affect the maintenance, loss, and restoration of biological diversity, ecological integrity, and ecological health. Science of sustaining evolutionary process that endanger genetics, population, and species and ecosystem diversity. Next. Next PPT. When we say conservation biologists, they're the ones concerned with understanding how life is distributed on the planet, what are those threats of life, and what can be done to eliminate the threats in order to restore the health and diversity of our ecosystem. Identifying and helping endangered species and preventing accelerated extinction rates are their major duties. Next PPT. Next po. Doc, nawala po at.
Oo nga, may technical problem ata tayo. So, hintayin lang natin saglit. Sino kasi yung nagpa-present? Si Miss
Si
Graida?
Christian. Yes po, Doc.
Okay, hintayin lang natin saglit. Okay, class. So while we are waiting for Miss Graida, discuss muna natin yung ibang important matters dito sa subject natin, no? So for finals, sino pa yung hindi nakapag-report? I will be giving topics for finals. Nicole, wait lang ha. Nicole. Okay, sino pa? Si Miss Agtuca. Okay, so for Miss Nicole and Miss Agtuca, your topic would be sources and prevention of food and water toxins. I-ano ko na lang ha, ilagay ko na lang siya dun sa GC natin. Okay, sources and prevention of food and water toxins. Okay, second, sino pa? Si Miss Parana? Okay, kasama mo na si Miss Besmano, Janine. So, ang topic nyo ay toxins in the home and environment. Okay, toxins in the home and environment. Okay, next, sino pa? Kung hindi nakapag-report. Who else? Miss Rosario and Bulanat. Rosario and Bulanat. Okay, ang topic nyo ay incorporate natin dito yung mga herbal plants that can be used for treating yung mga animals natin. So, discuss dito yung mga herbal plants available in the environment as an alternative medicine. So, herbal plants as alternative medicine. Okay. Okay, sino pa? Si Jack. Sino kasama mo, Mr. Jack?
Dok, sa reporting po.
Oo, reporting. Wala na ba?
Wala pa po akong na-assign na report po, Dok.
Sino pa ang sige, bigyan kita. Sino pa ang walang report? Sino pa hindi nakapag-report? Lahat na ba nakapag-report na? Kasi si Manuel. Sige, magkasama na kayo, Jack, no? Kasama mo si Manuel. So, for Jack and Manuel, sources of EMFS and radiation.
Sige po, Dok.
Natin to, ha?
Thank you po, Dok.
So, yun lang muna. The rest of the topics, I will be discussing that. So, we will be scheduling a face-to-face class para makapag-meeting na rin tayo. Okay, yung iba, I believe yung iba wala pa yata. So, I will give na lang siguro when we have our face-to-face meeting. Wala pa ba si Miss Graida?
Dok, wala daw sa internet. Pero, Dok, ipipresent na po saglit lang.
Oh, sige. Yan lang natin. Dapat. Awan kamote, sir? Okay. So, nandito pa lang tayo sa topic na conservation biology, tama? So, hindi pa nakapag-report yung principles of toxicology and total burden impact on animal health. Hindi pa, no, class? Okay. So, next na meeting na lang. So, hopefully, matapos natin itong conservation biology. Pinasa na ba, Miss Darlene, sa'yo yung PowerPoint?
Yes po, Dok. Pinapresent.
Sige. So for the reporters of principles of toxicology and total burden impact on animal health, please prepare next meeting, no? And also prepare your quiz. Also for Miss Aquino and Miss Graida, please prepare a 10 points quiz. So before we start yung discussion next meeting, magpa-quiz muna kayo, ne? Okay, so sige, continue na tayo.
These are the three goals of conservation biology: to evaluate human impacts on biological diversity, to understand the effects of human activities on species in the community and in ecosystem, and to develop practical approaches that prevents the extinction of the species. Next. So when we say biodiversity, the variability among living organisms from all sources, including terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystem and ecological complexes in which they are part. And when we say ecosystem naman, a community of plants, animals, and smaller organisms that live, feed, reproduce, and interact at the same area of environment. Next. So under biodiversity in conservation biology, we tackle about the number of variety of species in a given area. Next, and also genetic, the differences in DNA among individuals within the species. Next, and ecosystem, the number of variety of ecosystem in each area. Next. Human population growth is the increase of number of individuals within an area. It increased rapidly as ever, which leading to food shortage. When there's a food shortage, when there's a human population, syempre, kukulangin tayo ng supply kasi mataas yung demand ng food. And increased food production will involve genetically altered plants na magko-cause ng extinction naman sa mga ating mga plants. Next, PP. Biological limiting factors. Factors affecting a population can be related to the population density, called density dependent. Ito yung reproduction, parasitism, and yung disease. And the density independent naman is its limiting factor are things affecting the organism. Example is the increase or decrease in oxygen supply and in temperature. Next po.
Human impact on ecosystem. Human change the physical appearance of ecosystem as well as the types of organisms in them. Humans alter the natural flow of energy in ecosystem and change the distribution and quantity of abiotic components such as water and minerals. Humans also introduce new and often damaging biotic and abiotic agents. Human impact is either positive or negative. Example of negative impacts is overpopulation, pollution, burning fossil fuels, and deforestation. Next po. Positive impact of human in the ecosystem. Reducing the amounts of pollutants that enter the soil, water, and air. Wildlife preserves and national parks protect scores of ecosystems around the world. With the help of governments, establish these zones to protect specific ecosystems containing threatened plants and animals' lives. Reusing or making old products into new ones without having to take resources from nature. Environmental protection laws and management program preventing industrial contaminants on ground, river, streams, and other waterways. Good human impact on the environment include reforestation, using clean energy, and protecting natural reserves and forests to maintain the natural biodiversity. Next po. Negative impacts of human in the ecosystem. For pollution, air pollution, burning of fossils, fuels, coals, oil and natural gas, example, chlorine monoxide, sulfur monoxide. Water pollution, discharge waste into aquatic ecosystems, which stimulates algae and bacterial growth and introduce disease-causing organisms. For the water pollution, there is ocean acidification. In general, many human activities release carbon dioxide like burning fossil fuels. Ocean acidification occurs when carbon dioxide mixes with seawater to form a weak carbonic acid. And there is also acid rain. What's more, we also release sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere when we burn fossil fuels and use heavy vehicle equipment. These gases mix with condensing clouds and fall down as acid rain. Acid rain can ruin solid materials on land like statues and change the pH of soil and water. For soil pollution, improper disposal of waste, industrial activities, agricultural chemicals. There is also plastic pollution. We are facing many challenges because plastic clogs rivers and channels, leading to flooding. Sea creatures also eat or get trapped in plastic, thus killing them. For waste production, we also produce more waste because many poor nations burn their waste, which further adds to air pollution and leads to health problems. While we can recycle and reuse certain items like paper, there are also others that stay in the environment for a long time. For example, yung plastic nga. It can take between 100 to 500 years to decompose. Next po. Global warming. The extensive burning of fossil fuels has contributed markedly to global warming due to the greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases, which retain thermal energy in the atmosphere, include water, nitrous oxide, methane, and ozone. Ozone is a minor atmospheric gas but is important as it shields Earth from mutation-inducing ultraviolet radiation. As the ozone concentration falls, more UV radiation reaches the Earth's surface. Global warming refers to the increase in temperature on Earth, though the temperature of the planet rose and fell a number of times in the past. Today, scientists believe that it is mostly due to human activities. Next po. Extinction. It is the termination of an organism or of a group. The highest rate of extinction is in tropical rainforests, which have the most species per unit area on land of organisms, normally high species. Um, Deforestation and forest dege- degradation threaten biodiversity directly. Some plant and animal species may go extinct in the wild when we destroy their habitats. At the same time, other animals may migrate towards human settlement and cause damages. As a result, frightened villagers may kill them. Next po. Behavioral ecology, the study of evolutionary basis for animal behavior due to ecological pressures. It is how it is controlled and how it develops, evolves, and contributes to survival and reproductive success. The goal of behavioral ecology is to understand how plant or animals' behavior is adapted to its environment. That is, behavior is understood to be the result of an evolutionary process. Next po. Ways to combat extinction. Habitat protection. It is a management practice that seeks to conserve, protect, and restore habitats and prevent species extinction, fragmentation, or reduction in range. It is a priority of many groups that cannot be easily characterized in terms of any one ideology. Next po. Endangered species protection. Once a species becomes listed as threatened or endangered, it receives special protection by the federal government. It is very important to protect endangered species because once it's gone, they're gone forever and there's no going back. Losing even a single species can have disastrous impacts on the rest of the ecosystem because the effects will be felt throughout the food chain, from providing cures to deadly diseases to maintain natural ecosystems and improving overall quality of life. The benefits of preserving threatened and endangered species are invaluable. Next po. Wildlife Species Recovery Program. For the background species, for the background of species, a description of the species, its taxonomy, population structure, and life history. This includes the distribution, food sources, reproduction, and abundance. For the threats, the main reasons why the species is now at risk of extinction. For recovery strategy, details of how the species can be returned to a healthy state, including the goals, timeline, methods, and criteria for delisting. Next. Ways to protect the ecosystem. Ecosystem restoration, um, like tree planting, coral rehabilitation, forest rewilding, invasive species eradication, natural ground water filtration, and green space creation. For aug- augmentation of natural population, this is the species recovery technique that involves the intentional movement and release of individual into an existing population and management of harvest, then political participation. um, it works positively for environment causes. Political participation helps strengthen individual sense of self-control and competence, with which may help to produce positive outcomes of communal outcomes, such as environmental protection. For the education, it helps the students understand how their decisions and actions affect the environment, builds knowledge and skills necessary to address complex environment issues, as well as ways we can take action to keep our environment healthy and sustainable for the future. Next po. Yun lang po yung present ko namin. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so any questions coming from the class? Do you have clarifications or questions to ask to the reporters about conservation biology? Meaning, how are we going to conserve the life of our animals? So do you have any questions, class, or clarifications? Nandyan pa ba kayo?
Wala naman po, Dok. Clear
Okay
po.
naman. Si Jirel ulit yung sumasagot. Okay, Miss Gaida and Miss Aquino, will you please go back to your PowerPoint dun sa part ng yung sa human, yung impacts of human. Paki-flash nyo nga ulit yun, anak, dun sa impacts of human, positive and negative impacts of human atay. Okay, so habang pinapresent nila, so let us understand, class, that conservation biology is important role of human. No? Why? Kasi tayo din lang naman yung sumisira sa environment that causes yung destruction of life of these animals. Okay? So it is the role and it is the obligation of human to conserve biology or life, not only human but also animals, different species of animals. This is due to our different activities which also in return destruct yung environment. Okay? And with the destruction of the environment of our wildlife, our domestic animals, meron effect ito dun sa buhay. So, pwedeng nagkakaroon ng death of animals or pwedeng nagkakaroon sila ng dito papasok yung survivor or yung mga survivability of the animals. Maingay dito sa and of course, as they survive due to the destruction of their environment, nagkakaroon na ng adaptation to the new environment. Okay? Like for example, dun sa global warming. Okay, so wala naman ito before but due to human activities, like for example, yun nga, yung pagsusunog, okay, yung mga industrialization of our places like creation or development of many factories which contribute to yung gas pollution. So yan, no, nakaka-contribute sila dun sa pagsira ng natural resources and doon sa habitat of the animals. So these activities actually causes death and some, no, dun sa mga nakakapag-survive, they have this adaptation property or adaptation ability na. Now, for this human, dun sa ano anak, paki-flash nyo dun sa impact. Impact ata yan, human impact on ecosystem. Okay, meron ba yung positive? Parang may nakita ako kanina. About sa soil. Sige nga. Next. Okay, so positive impacts on human into the ecosystem. So dito, we are discussing actually yung mga roles, what could be the role of human, no? To preserve yung ecosystem natin, to preserve yung biology, yung conservation of life. So as a vet, what do you think is the role of a vet para ma-address natin itong mga positive muna, positive impacts of human. So for example, if you're a vet in the future, no, what would be your role for you to address yung positive impact of human? Ano kaya yung mga practice ng veterinarian para ma-conserve natin yung mga ito? Balik ka muna dun sa positive muna, ano? Yan. Okay. What do you think is the role of a veterinarian in these impacts of human in the ecosystem? How are we going to conserve biology through itong mga positive impacts na? Like for example, class, reducing the amounts of pollutants that enter the soil, water, and air. So as a vet, ano kaya yung mga practice natin as we practice our profession, as we treat our animals, as we diagnose the diseases of these animals, ano kaya yung mga practice na pwede nating i-impose dito to reduce yung amounts of pollutants that could enter the soil, water, and air?
Doc, since we are veterinarians, we also use medical waste materials. Dapat po itapon po siya sa right place, right tapunan po, Doc.
Like for example, yung mga tinatawag natin na biologicals or vaccines. Okay? So for now, siguro hindi ko kayo mauobliga na magbigay ng concrete na answer kasi ano pa lang naman, 4th year pa lang naman kayo. Wala pa kayong medicine and wala pa kayong OJT. But that is one example. Like for example, yung proper disposal of vaccines or biologicals. Okay? So hindi yan dapat ino-contaminate yung environment. Okay, remember class, when you go into your internship, pag naging clinician kayo, you will be handling vaccines. So proper handling is dapat hindi kayo makapag-contaminate ng environment kasi you're actually introducing yung disease. You're actually, tawag nito, yung kumbaga nagkakalat kayo ng virus sa environment and that could be an avenue para makakuha ng sakit yung mga animals. So that is one, proper handling of vaccines. So if you are properly handling the vaccines or biologicals, then you are preventing the contamination of the environment. And in return, you are actually eliminating yung sources of diseases dun sa mga animals natin. Okay, that's one. Next, ano pa kaya? Yung mga cadavers, di ba? Yung mga dead bodies of our animals. So halimbawa, nasa farm ka and maraming mortality rate dun sa farm na pinag-workan mo. So those bodies, after dead bodies of animals. Okay, what else? Like for example, no, yung mga cases natin ng they call this tetanus. Okay, so for those animals who have tetanus cases, so ang ginagawa kasi natin dyan, dapat sana, no, yung iba binuburol nila, or ano ba tawag doon, nililibing nila inside the soil. So actually class, pag ganyan yung practice natin, you are actually contaminating the soil. Kasi yung tetanus na bacteria can live under the soil for about 10 to 20 years. So in that 10 to 20 years na yan, pwede nila i-contaminate yung environment, including the water system. So from one animal na nag-positive ng tetanus, tapos mali yung disposal mo. Inano mo siya, nilibing mo siya. So nabubuhay yung bacteria doon sa inside the soil kasi anaerobic siya, contaminating yung water system. So that could be a source of tetanus not only for the animals but also for those human na gumagamit or nanggagaling yung water source nila from that water system. So you are actually contaminating na both yung soil at saka yung water. So pwedeng mag-cause yan. Ang tetanus kasi both yan, no, naapektuhan ang animals at saka humans. So proper disposal dapat ay muna. Okay, so you will be discussing that, yung proper disposal dun sa mga tetanus patients natin. Okay? So dapat ay ino-open mo na yan para mamatay yung bacteria sa kanyo ililibing. Hindi yung ililibing agad-agad yung animals. Kasi dapat expose nyo muna yung spores of that bacteria para sa hangin, para mamatay muna sila. And then kapag nilibing nyo yan, dapat ay naglalagay kayo ng lime doon sa soil para for sure na mamamatay yung bacteria. If hindi nyo na-observe yung proper disposal na yan, yun nga, sabi ko, you are actually contaminating the soil, and in 10 or 20 years, you are now contaminating yung water system, yung water source of that community. So baka hindi lang yung tetanus matatagpuan sa animals, but also for the human living in that community. Okay? So for the negative impact, alam naman natin yung mga different activities of humans, okay, which contributes to the destruction of the ecosystem, and destruction of life of these animals. And yun nga, sabi ko nga, like for example, no, yung mga practice, halimbawa, kung meron kayong nakitang cobra, anong ginagawa? Pinapatay?
Yes, Doc.
Yun yung, kasi yun yung ano, no, pag nagulat ka, yun yung ano natin eh. Pero ano dapat? What should be the proper management of that? If like, for example, in your community or in your, siguro dun lang sa bakuran, in your backyard, may nakita kayong cobra, what should be the proper management of that? Are you going to kill the animal? Wildlife yan, di ba? Ano dapat ang ginagawa?
I-report po, Doc.
Yes, i-report natin sa DENR.
ENR po.
Kasi ano yan eh, hindi sila dapat pinapatay. Pinapakawalan natin yan dun sa kanilang natural habitat. Kasi in the future, diyan din tayo kukuha ng mga anti-venom na gagamitin. So, hindi sila dapat pinapatay. But of course, kapag ano na, worst comes to worst scenario, halimbawa talagang kailangan ka naman yung na, atakihin, yun yung ginagawa as ano naman, defense mechanism of people. Pero as much as possible sana ay i-report natin yan sa DNR, huliin sila ng buhay and pakakawalan sila doon sa natural habitat nila. Now, bakit nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong scenario? Yung mga wildlife natin natatagpuan na sa mga backyard natin, sa mga bakuran, no? Is supposed to be nasa, ano sila, forest sila. So that is actually one result na ng mga ginagawa ng mga humans, yung mga human activity. Sinisira kasi natin yung habitat nila, yung ecosystem nila. So nasisira yung, we are actually destruction of their habitat. Second is, wala na silang food source. Third is, siguro hinahunt na rin natin sila. Sino dito yung kumakain ng ahas? Meron ba? Diba for now, diba hinahunt na yung mga cobra, yung mga different species of snakes for medicinal purposes daw. Binibenta sa mga Chinese. So pinapatay sila. Ano pa? Some, siguro dahil sa poverty na rin, no, is kumakain na rin sila ng karne ng sawa, is karne ng cobra, mga ganun. So, those activities actually contribute doon sa pagbabago ng behavior of these animals. So, minsan wala na silang makain doon sa natural habitat nila, kaya pupunta na sila sa kabahayan. Okay? O wala na siguro silang matirhan kasi kalbo na yung forest. So, napupunta na sila sa city, napupunta na sila sa mga bakuran natin. Kasi kailangan din nilang mag-survive. So, that is parang domino effect ng mga human activity natin. So, nade-distract din sila. And in return, ayun, nag-i-invade na rin sila sa places natin. So, they are also invading our territory. And not only invading, but they are also posing threat to human. Okay? So, hindi kasi pwedeng magsama ang cobra at ang tao. Meron at merong masasaktan dyan. Okay? So, dapat yung cobra nasa forest, yung tao dito sa kabahayan. Pero, yun nga, dahil nga sa mga activities na yan, ayun, humahalo na sila and nagkakasakitan na yung tao at animals. Okay? So, as a veterinarian, siguro we have to observe yung mga management of this wildlife, creation din siguro ng kanilang ecosystem, yung mga tinatawag natin na alternative ecosystem or artificial ecosystem for them to survive din at magparami para hindi sila maging extinct. Kasi nasira na nga yung kanilang natural habitat. Now, yun yung role ng human. And as a vet, malaki yung role natin kasi syempre nasa ano tayo, diagnosis and treatment. And ano pa, management of course. So, yung mga proper disposal, yun yung ano natin yun yung role natin para hindi natin makontaminate yung ibang natural resources. Okay? So, I hope you understand yung role natin, not only as a vet, but per se as a human in the conservation of biology. So, hindi, yun lang, ang very ano lang siya, no, dilemma lang kung halimbawa meron ka talagang nakitang, halimbawa cobra, at nasa ano na siya, no, attacking position na siya. Siyempre, ang defense mechanism natin talaga is Also to protect ourselves, and yun nga, pwede mong masaktan. Pero kung hindi pa naman umaabot sa ganun class, ayun, dapat nire-report natin yan. Not only yung mga cobras and iba pang mga snakes, but other wildlife, no? In Australia, I believe napaka ng respect nila sa mga kangaroos doon. Hindi ka pwedeng sumagasan ng kangaroo. Otherwise, kulong ka yata. May babayaran ka. So, very respectful sila sa wildlife doon sa Australia. Dito sa Pilipinas, may mga practice na rin tayo. But hopefully ay maano pa, kumbaga mapalawak pa yung kaalaman ng mga kapwa natin Pilipino in situations like this. So, yun yung isang role din natin. Okay? So, who knows? Baka one of you in the future siguro, pwede kayong sumali dun sa mga program and advocacy ng DNR natin in the preservation of this wildlife species and conservation biology of our animals. Okay? So, any more questions, class? Okay na tayo? Okay, so, anong oras pa lang ba? Check ko muna yung attendance. Yung attendance nyo for this meeting is equivalent to 5 points, please. So, as I call your name, please say present. Hindi ko na mabasa. Redondes, Angel Rose. Nandito ba? Wala. How about Ardel Bernardino?
Present po, Doc.
Okay. Arnold Mendez.